Ahoy there, guys. Do you want a restful night, not banging? Ahoy there, guys. Do you not want to wake up in the middle of the night with some loud bangs and lots of noise? Well, we've got some top tips of how you can avoid booking the cabin from hell! So the first thing to do, and it's very important, is make sure the location and position of your cabin is right on the ship. You don't want anything above you, anything below you, or anything to the sides of you that could possibly make noise.
Yeah, so things to look out for is clubs, because they obviously have a lot of noise throughout the night.
You don't want boom, 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 boom.
Also, if your cabin is below a sun deck, in the morning you'll probably hear the sun chairs coming out and going in all night and people running around. Also check the location of the buffet, any restaurants, and any sort of entertainment venues that are going to cause a lot of noise.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to be close to any elevators or stairs as well. We like to stay about 8 cabins away from stairs or elevators, so it's still really quick and easy to get to an elevator or the stairs, so we're in a nice position to move around the ship. But yeah, anything that makes noises, galleys, restaurants, bars, clubs, the theatre, you don't want your cabin to be next to that.
Another thing to look out for as well when picking a cabin is crew corridors. So you'll be able to have a look at these again on the map of the ship. We tend to avoid anywhere that's next to a crew entrance onto the deck, because this can be noisy, particularly when they're bringing in trolleys in and out, or if they're bringing the luggage in and out.
The crew is constantly busy making sure everything's nice and clean, taking room service to other rooms and things. So yeah, it's definitely worth staying away from these galley entrances.
Also, you've got to think about where your cabin is in relation to the engine and the ship, and particular locations that may have a lot of vibration. Cabins lower down, so closer to the engine rooms and to the mechanics of the ship, you're going to have more noise from the ship, from when it's moving, and from when you're in port, with like the anchor going down and things like that. That could wake you up in the morning.
Don't be put off by this. We're just giving it as a warning, because it isn't that noisy, but it's a little bit noisy now and again. You definitely hear the anchor. You definitely hear a little bit more activity when you're entering port, which is usually very early in the morning, 5-6 a.m. But then again, if you do want to go book a cheaper cabin, go for it, and take into mind things like the theatre, which will finish for sort of 10 p.m. By 10 p.m. it'll be closed, so it doesn't make any noise.
I mean, if you're above a nightclub and you're going to be there on the dance floor every night till 2 a.m. anyway,
go for it.
Go for it. You know, maybe you don't want to be under the sunbeds at 6 o'clock in the morning, but if you're going to be up at the crack of dawn, it doesn't matter if you're under the pool area, because you're going to be up anyway. So just think about the type of cruiser that you are and what cabin suits you best.
So the next big question, David, would be, how do we avoid booking the wrong cabin? Cabin? Well, it's actually pretty simple. The thing that we do is, first of all, we go and have a look at the deck plans for a ship. Yeah, and this is really easy to do. They're usually on all of the cruise websites, or you can just search ship name, deck plans.
Yeah, do a quick Google search and there'll be loads of websites with the deck plan for your ship. Just make sure if your ship has had a recent refit or dry dock that you're getting the current one for your cruise.
Absolutely, and what we usually do is we check the deck above, or a few decks above, a few decks below of the cabin that we've been allocated before we actually press the book button, and just check around the area, just make sure we're not too close to anything that looks like it could make noise. I personally think that the best cabin is a one that's sandwiched between 2 other decks of cabins. So you're in the middle and you've got at least a deck of cabins above you and a deck of cabins below you.
Yeah, so you've got that buffer, I guess, of other people who are wanting the same thing as you, is a quiet, restful cruise.
Absolutely.
I also like to do a quick Google search, maybe on the forums, such as Cruise Critic, just to see if anybody's put any reviews of our cabin or of our deck or anything around it. And people will flag up if there is maybe issues with your cabin, like where your location is. Or if you are really worried, go onto Facebook, find a Facebook group with the cruise line that you're going on, and just ask.
Yeah,
just say, anybody cruised on this ship with this cabin or anywhere near it? Anybody got any tips or recommendations? And cruisers are more than happy to help.
So my next big tip would be to visit some of the sites that are actually made for just cruise cabins. So basically these shows cruise cabin reviews as well as some pictures of the actual cabin that you could possibly stay in. So these websites include cruisestateroom.com, cruisemapper.com and shipcabins.com. Links are at the bottom right now. But yeah, visit these sites. We've used them a few times just to have a look at exactly what our cabin will be like, sort of size, where the bed is in the cabin, how the cabin's positioned. It gives you a really good idea.
Also, a thing to avoid if you are very particular about where your cabin is, and if you do suffer from maybe being a very light sleeper, is to avoid a guaranteed cabin, because the problem with the guaranteed cabin is you do not choose your cabin, so you don't choose the exact location, and you could be given a cabin in the category that you've chose anywhere on the ship. So it could be literally, it could be on top of the theatre for all you know. So just avoid that if you do want a particular cabin.
Yeah, and because the cruise line's obviously going to try and sell the best cabins first, the cruise guarantee cabin is often, not always, depending on how busy the cruise is, the lowest category, so not the best positioned.
Yeah.
But the upside of booking a guarantee cabin is that you can save an absolute fortune, can't you, really?
Yes, and on some occasion you can get an upgrade. It's not guaranteed, even though it's called guarantee cabin. It's not guaranteed. I don't know what that. It's a guaranteed cabin in that like category,
class.
But there is a small chance that you may get an upgrade. We actually have done a guaranteed cabin before, and we got what they class as an upgrade, but we wasn't very happy with it, was we?
No.
Because we didn't like the location. They actually moved us next to an elevator.
And they actually moved us to the very top deck below the Lido deck as well, didn't they? So we know from experience that 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, when they start cleaning the upper decks, you can get a lot of noise from chairs scraping, sunbed scraping, and it's the last thing you want on holiday, isn't it?
Also on a night on our cruise where we had a top deck cabin, and there was that party that went on till 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And the whole cabin was like...
Yeah, it was an outdoor white party, wasn't it? Yeah, and it was really loud, yeah. So it's really important that you pick the right cabin, because you just get a good night's sleep, and that's so important.
Yeah, the whole cabin was like a vibrator. It was ridiculous.
All right, David.
No, I mean, like...
What are you talking about?
Like, the cabin was vibrating.
You can't take them anywhere, can you?
Like, the whole cabin was not like a vibrator. Oh,
yeah, you can't talk yourself out of that. Digging. So yeah, we take earplugs as well. We take these to hotels as well, because you don't know who's going to be next door, what sort of noise is going to be made. It's just like a hotel, really. So next up, we want to sort of get rid of some of that jargon. So you may have seen when you log onto a cruise site, hundreds and thousands of different categories that have different weird codes like ZZ, LJ51.
BBQ.
What does this actually mean? Well, basically, cruise ships are just resort hotels and very similar, and each type of room will be given a category. Kind of ignore these, because these are only really relevant to travel agents.
Yeah, and it's different between every cruise line, so there's no point getting to learn what a JV cabin is on Royal Caribbean, because it means absolutely nothing on Princess Cruises.
So yeah, there can be hundreds of different classes of cabins, but as David said, just ignore these and just look for the cabin that you want.
Yeah, so you can choose from an interior, which doesn't have a window, a ocean view, which will be a cabin with a window, a balcony, or sometimes they're called veranda staterooms. These are with a balcony or veranda, and then you're getting up into your suite categories. So you could have an inside suite, for example, where you're just getting all the extra amenities that come with the suite.
So yeah, basically, in each category, there will be a few different codes. Basically, these are organised by the size of the cabin and the position of the cabin. So within the interior category, you would get, say, 5 categories of cabin, starting with the smallest and the worst location, all the way up to the biggest cabins in the best location, and obviously they're going to be more expensive.
Yeah, so don't worry about the codes.
No,
just look at price. The lower the price, the not as great maybe the location, or it's maybe a bit smaller, or it may be slightly obstructed. The higher the price, the better the location, and just the better the type of cabin.
Exactly, and it'll tell you the sort of square feet of how big the cabin is as well, to get an idea of how large it is.
Yeah, of course, when we say a cabin is maybe not as good as another cabin, a lot of that is down to personal preference.
It's absolutely subjective.
Yeah, because if you're, say, the type of person that doesn't suffer from seasickness, it doesn't really matter if you're at the extremes of the ship, because it doesn't bother you. You know, if you're the type of person that can walk a bit further and doesn't mind being further away from elevators and lifts, you know, it doesn't matter. So although we're saying there may be a better grade of cabin, it doesn't mean that the cabin is any worse particularly. It's a lot down to personal preference.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you do suffer from seasickness, worry not, watch our seasickness video for some tips. And seriously, ships are so modern these days. They have some amazing technology on board and stabilizers to keep the journey as smooth as possible. So just to sum it up, do your research. Make sure that you have a look at the deck plans, especially when you're coming to book a cruise. locate your cabin where you're looking to book and see that it's got no horrible things in the way.
Yeah, just double check what is, like we said, around your cabin, above your cabin and below your cabin, because you don't want to be stuck above a noisy area of the ship.
So guys, let us know if you've got any tips below in the comments of how you avoid booking the cabin from hell. Yeah, make sure you give us a like to this video and subscribe right below, because we've got so much exciting things coming up, and press that bell as well, because you'll get an email every time we upload a video, because we don't want you to miss out.
You can also find us on social media. You can see our links just below. Come and join us, send us your messages, get involved. We're posting great content all the time.
So I guess that's it for this time.
Until next time,
Happy cruising!